everyone. Before we get into this episode, could you please subscribe, follow the Breakup Diet? It really means the world, and it means I get to keep making these episodes. So if you could please do that, I would be forever grateful, and I hope you enjoy it.
Buckle up, bitches. It's gonna get bumpy. This is the Breakup Diet.
Welcome back to another episode of the Breakup Diet. Today I'm joined by a very exciting guest, Georgia Crossley. So tell me about yourself, tell me about GeeGee Collection. I want to hear it all.
Yeah, so basically I started my brand during the pandemic with £7,000 in savings. I wasn't working anymore because before that I used to work in China. With COVID and everything sort of got shut down. So I came back to London. And during COVID, I started my brand, but it's something I've been kind of playing with for maybe like 1 or 2 years earlier. And just like, I'd had the idea for a while and I made a few samples, but that was when I really had the time to focus on it and push it.
Were you in fashion before that?
Yeah, I was. So I studied at university, like textiles design, so like fabrication and things for fashion. And then after that, I went to work at Alexander McQueen in London, Jenny Packham, which is another British designer, and
like ball dresses, right? Like
yeah, she does. They do a lot for like Kate Middleton and things like that. After that, I started working in the purchasing department, where I purchased fabrics for different brands. So from there, I really felt like I got a good understanding of into the ins and outs of fabrication for clothing and like how things are made. And also, I think the main kind of reason I started my brand is I felt with fast fashion, fashion's kind of lost its meaning. You know, it's just what can I buy and wear once and throw away? Whereas I wanted to create a brand that was more kind of like an art project where you'd have pieces that are handmade, unique, and something that you could wear forever, you know, kind of one of a kind fashion.
I think that's come in a lot more because I remember like in 2016, for example, it was very much so fast fashion was like a massive thing. But especially now, maybe this is just me, but I definitely buy things more like not from a trend. If I like love the piece, I know it's going to last. I think that's amazing. I feel like that is a massive shift that people have done a lot too. Do you find that or not really?
Yeah, I do. I think the sort of younger generation are quite into fast fashion just because maybe they're at university, they don't have the disposable income, you know, to spend more money on clothes and things. But I do think now with the sort of explosion of social media and stuff, people are looking more at wanting to look unique and different and have like really cool fashion pieces and trends that will get them to go viral, you know, or to get people to kind of look at them a bit more.
How did you have this idea? What was there something that like sparked it, and what are the main is it ethos of GeeGee Collection?
Yeah, so basically it was when I was working in China for these mass market brands, and I just found there was so much waste, everything was so cheap and made so cheaply, and I kind of studying textiles and working in purchasing of materials, I kind of fell in love with like the original way of how fabrics were made, you know, like I think it was actually the ancient Egyptians that invented weaving. So they were the first ones to invent woven fabric. And then it came to Greece, and then it was industrialized in the UK. And then from there, someone called Joseph Jacquard, who's French, he created Jacquard fabrics, which is kind of what most fabrics are made today if they're woven, which is you can kind of make more complex designs. A lot of knitwear is done by that as well. And it really kind of industrialized and revolutionized fashion and clothing. And I kind of wanted to go back to that original artisanship of fabrics and clothing and make pieces that were really kind of in line with that, rather than just buying fabric, you know, from a market that was $2 or something. I wanted to make something that was unique because we actually hand design a lot of our fabrics. So a lot of the fabrics we use, you won't find them anywhere else with any other brand because the whole fabric's been designed as well as the clothing.
Most of it is it done in London? A lot of it?
So we have a studio in East London, which is where not during COVID, because obviously everything was shut down, but towards the end, I had another guy that I used to work with in fashion, and was starting his own brand, and he has a studio in East London. So I kind of joined the studio with him just to make it a bit more going on and stuff. And we started off by making everything there in-house. And now as we're starting to grow bigger and stuff, we do a lot in the UK, but we've started doing some in Poland as well. We have like a lovely female-run factory just outside of Warsaw that we use, and they're all really lovely. Yeah, so it's a bit of both at the minute, but all of our design, sampling, and quite a lot. If we need stuff made quickly, it's done in London. But if we're sort of making quite a big production run, we'll do it we're starting to do it in Poland, not quite there yet, but some of the stuff is.
And you said at the start that when you started it was 7,000, was it?
Yeah, I had £7,000 in savings, so
that's quite scary to then, like, you must have put like majority of it in, no? Or all of it in?
Yeah, I put all of it in. So I just made a few samples, and it was scary because it actually took me 6 months to get a sale in the beginning. And I was thinking, oh my God, did I do the right thing? Am I going to? But I only started with 4 pieces. So when I started my brand, I only made 4 coats.
Don't a lot of factories get really funny about you have to make like a lot?
The UK is fine. They'll do kind of any quantity. And because it was during COVID, I had to do it here anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so you got the sample, not the samples, the actual pieces.
Yeah, so I got like 10 of each. And then I actually just, in the beginning, I think I just photographed friends in them because I didn't have a lot of money, just on my phone or on a camera, just out in the street, things like that, and started marketing it on Instagram. It was hard because I kept posting stuff and I would get followers and things, but no sales. And it was a bit kind of worrying. So I kept on and on and on. And then eventually I got contacted there's an independent department store it's in London, but they have it as well in LA, New York, I think maybe Australia, called Wolf and Badger. And they reached out to me and just said, we love your clothes. Do you want to be on the website? This was during lockdown. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I put the clothes on there. And I think through that and just me posting continuously, I then got a sale. And once you've got one, it kind of, you get another and another and another. And then after that, because I had money coming in, I started developing new designs, new pieces. And I've actually moved away from what I did in the beginning, because in the beginning I was doing all these lovely like tweed jackets and they were all hand woven, but they didn't sell that well for me. It was only when I started to introduce sort of the lighter fabrics like the one I'm wearing, the kind of more jacquard pieces, that seemed to be what people really like and what the brand became known for. So I've sort of diversed more into this kind of realm of the brand's gone more into this than the original kind of heavy tweed coats.
And when you say that you were being consistent on like posting and everything like that, does that literally mean like you were doing it every day? You were just...
Oh yeah, I was posting all the time. Yeah.
And how did you have all the content for that? You were just asking your friends?
I was asking friends. I was doing it a bit myself, but I'm a bit camera shy, so I hate talking on camera and things like that. I just feel awkward when I'm by myself. I know, but when you're by yourself in a room, it's not for me, so I would get friends to do it, family, or I'd get pictures of myself in it. And yeah, it just kind of went from there. But I was consistently posting. I was doing boost posts, things like that, to get more engagement and more people to the page. But I also think because of the time when I started it, which was during COVID, everyone was at home. So maybe people were looking more on social media,
When you got contacted by the big department store, like Wolf and Badger, yeah. Did you have quite a big following already by then, or not really?
I didn't. I converted my Instagram, like my personal page, into my brand one. So I had not many followers, but a few. And then I only had maybe at the time like 2,000 or 3,000, not many followers.
I think that's amazing though that they're contacting like independent small brands like that.
So I don't know if they do that anymore, because I think now they're quite big and I think they get a lot of brands contacting them. But at the time, yeah, maybe they were looking for brands or something and they came across mine, because what I do is kind of unique. You won't find the fabrics anywhere else. It's a sustainable brand, which is what they want to support. So Yeah, that was good for me in the beginning because I did get a lot of sales through them, when I first started. Because I think as well, when you start a brand or anything, it's hard for people to trust you if you're new. So people, maybe they'll see me on Wolf and Badger and see my website, but they'll order through Wolf and Badger because that's a reputable company that's been around for a while. So they don't come to me direct. So I think like now, obviously time's gone on and I've built up my brand and everything and people will
Trust, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a big thing. Now I'm a bit more like, whatever. But I remember when I first started buying stuff, even off Instagram, like as in would see the brand on Instagram and then go to their website. You are a bit more hesitant than if I saw it in Harrods or Harvey Nichols. You know what I mean? Like I would be quicker to buy it there just because
that's what I thought in the beginning. I thought people loved this whole sort of new brand, new designer, everything. But what I've come to realize over time is people don't like that. They like established brand and an established name. Yeah, that was something I kind of learned early on, not to say that I'm a new brand and brand new, just to open this year.
You got picked up by them and then you had your first sale and then it kind of just kept going.
Yeah. I mean, obviously every week's different and I can't sort of pinpoint why, but like everything, it's up and down, up and down, up and down.
Was there a moment where you wanted to give up when you didn't have that sale or anything?
Yeah, there was. Like I kind of thought, why am I even bothering with this? Because I was putting a lot of effort in, to try and get attention. But I think also people say such bad, like slag social media off a lot. But actually, I think it's amazing because you can now just have no experience in anything or any kind of industry and you can launch whatever you want because you've got a platform there for, potential customers. And so for me, without it, I wouldn't have been able to start my brand. I wouldn't have been able to promote it, I think before fashion was very different, where you kind of went through the whole thing where you went to fashion school and then you worked for this designer, that designer, the next one. And then, if you kind of got known, you could go out on your own and start your own brand. But it's not like that anymore. You don't even need to go to fashion school anymore. If you had an idea and it was something cool that people liked, you can just make it, promote it and find your audience.
Yeah. Literally.
I know.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Mine's kind of been a real slow burn. It started slow. I'm organically growing. Whereas some people, maybe they take investment from wherever and they have this huge boom and everyone knows the brand. It's the coolest thing. And then it drops off because it's gone, the trend's not there. Yeah, the hype's gone. So I think what I'm trying to do when you look and kind of study all these different brands that's happened to is just grow organically and just stay true to the brand's ethos. Because I think if a lot of times, like if you take investment from, a company or an individual, they want a return on it. So they might say to you, well, this does, I make everything, the fabrics are all hand designed. Well, this doesn't make enough money. So you need to do hoodies and caps and t-shirts with a logo on. And then that gets pushed and then everyone's exhausted because they don't want to look at another hoodie with your logo on it, Yeah. So I'm trying to keep it like authentic and unique, just to keep growing that way.
Like as in you love what you've designed, somebody else is going to.
Yeah, because I kind of like the fact my collection's like an art project, it's everything sort of handmade and hand-drawn, designed, that kind of thing. And I do want to keep it that because I think that's what people like about the brand.
So you work with designers as well and you kind of like oversee it, or how does it work with you?
Yeah, so I work a lot so I outsource a lot. So how I'm working is kind of different because we will do sometimes just designs. Like now we're doing a lot of swimwear because originally the brand would get a lot of sales in winter and then nothing in the summer because no one buys coats in the summer, right? So I was like, okay, I need to diversify here. So we went into swimwear. And again, I was like, how do I keep this within the USP of the brand? How do I keep it unique? There's so many swimwear brands. So I went back again. I'm working with this supplier in France where I get hand designed swimwear fabrics. So it's kind of like, I wouldn't say prints, it's more like jacquard on swimwear. So you get sort of cool embroideries and things on it. So it just keeps the fabric a bit more unique because there's not that much you can do in swimwear that hasn't already been done, you know? So that a lot of times we do that with just designing bikinis, swimsuits, whatever, and then fabricating them. But then other times it's like, I kind of know what sells, you know, because I've had the brand for a while. So I'll see a fabric and I'm like, especially anything fringy, you know, with fringing. I'll see it and I'll be like, okay, I know I can make something that will sell in that. So, and a lot of times to not waste money as well, I do reuse patterns we already have. So I'll just recreate, you know, the shorts pattern that we already use in another fabric. Yeah. So that's another way that's good to save money and stuff. Because I think that's one of the most expensive things with a brand is the development of new pieces. So designing and then creating a pattern from the design and then doing a sample, and does that sample work in that fabric? If not, then you've got to go back, and that's the most expensive part because you need to do that in London really, and it's very expensive.
Yeah. Have you ever had it where somebody's been wearing your piece and you've been out and seen it?
Yeah, I have actually. But also what I found really cool was I had a friend of mine who was in Miami and she was like, oh, I just saw a girl in Soho House in your bikini. And
oh my gosh.
Cool.
That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we briefly mentioned earlier that you didn't get outside investment. How come that was so important? Was it because you wanted the control of like not having to make certain things?
The thing for me is when you first start any kind of business, if you take outside investment in the beginning, you're going to have to give so much away, maybe even like 50% or more to get the money because you've not got a track record. How do they know that it's going to work, your idea? Whereas if you kind of start a business, it can be any, whatever, and then you get sales, or say you're a restaurant and you get the footfall and the customers, you have something to prove then. So when you go out to look for investment, you're not going to have to give away as much of your company because you're already doing something right. So it's not that I wouldn't take outside investment. It's just for them. I do think to kind of really grow, you do need to take maybe big investment just to really push like the marketing and things like that. But I would really want to be sort of cautious of who I brought in because I do want to keep my brand with one-of-a-kind fabrics, all handmade, have that kind of traditional craftsmanship in the brand. I wouldn't want someone to push me into doing like t-shirts and hoodies, just mass producing them to get them out, or making me mass produce in China because it's super cheap. And just, so, I think then the brand can get really oversaturated when everyone has it, and then it's not as desirable. Then also I'm on my schedule. I don't have to answer to anyone, or, why have the sales not been as good this week as they were last week? That kind of thing. But it's not that I wouldn't take investment. I would, but it'd just have to be on, a line and be on like my terms more.
What's been the biggest learning for you from like starting it to now? Has there been anything that you wish maybe other people should know if they want to start their own brand, or maybe a mistake that now that won't happen again?
I think it's like having flexibility to change. So in the beginning, like I said, I started my brand and I was doing loads of these very heavy tweed coats that were really, I loved them. I thought they were amazing, but they just didn't really sell. So I had to adapt and move away from it. If that's not what's selling, I need to do something else, which is how I got into the kind of lighter fabrics and the swimwear. And this does much better for me. So I think if you're flexible and like, if you can adapt to change, then you can move on. I mean, I've made some samples that looked horrendous. I've had this fabric and I was like, oh my God, that's beautiful. I can't wait to make something in it. And I've got the sample back and I've just been like, what the hell, So I think just not, nothing goes smoothly every time. It's like over time, obviously you get used to it, what's going to work, what doesn't. But in the beginning, you just don't know, how it's going to go.
Yeah. It must be quite hard though, especially being like, whether it's your brand and then you put it out, and if it's not selling, but you love it, it must be quite hard to be fair.
Because you don't know why.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, why does no one want this? I really like it, but I guess I'm not everyone else. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And how important was it on the email? So basically you reached out and you, in the email you said like work with a lot of females, or was it something that just kind of fell into place?
So it was something I did consciously. It's like I do want to support female businesses. So I'm working a lot with, you know, all the seamstresses are females. And to be honest, like design wise, it's a very mix of like men and women. But I do kind of want to champion females in the workforce and kind of give them a way to shine, because it is like a very male dominated world still, you know, no matter what we say. It's like, even when you look at investment, the majority of it is going to men, and that's just a fact. So it is nice to kind of be a woman and have a business and inspire other females to start their own business, and just to work with other females to give them opportunities.
And what has been your proudest moment?
My proudest moment is probably when Sarah Michelle Gellar, who's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, wore this kimono on Star Search Netflix. Okay. So she's like a judge on that, and she wore it for one of the episodes. So I was like, that was pretty cool, you know, to have someone famous in your designs. Or just seeing other people wearing them, you know, on Instagram when they tag you in the posts and things like that.
Yeah, that must be so cool. And especially just like seeing that and the repost, not the repost, the tag.
The tags, yeah.
Yeah. And like have no connection to them. I think that's amazing. You obviously are doing lots right. And if you could go back in time, is there anything you would have changed at the start or the way that you did it?
Yeah, so much. Well, to be honest, I wish I started it earlier, you know, but I didn't have that idea like years ago. So, but I wouldn't have made all these like heavy tweed coats because some of them, I still have them sat there, like still trying to sell them. And then I have the other stuff I made later on that sold out. And also I think I know a lot more about marketing and how to get yourself out there, which I didn't know before how to do.
When you say that, what do you mean? Just
like on social media and what type of posts work. People love, you know, a day in the life in the studio. They love this sort of behind the scenes things of how things are made. Whereas in the beginning, I was just doing photo shoots, like filming photo shoots, because I thought that's what people would want to see. But actually they like the sort of in the studio type reels and content. Yeah.
So having like different content as well, probably like lots of different avenues.
Yeah, because I think it's quite different and people are interested to see how everything's actually made. Because I think like sometimes I get a lot of feedback that my products are expensive, but so by being able to show that actually everything is handmade, including the fabrics, like I have these fringy jackets and shorts, and they're all hand finished in the studio. So we make them with kind of seamstresses, and then I just say, don't cut the fringing because it takes forever, just send it back and we'll finish it in our studio. And then I've done videos of me and other people that I work with just sat there like literally chopping fringing on coats and shorts, and I think people can then see and be like, oh, okay, you know, I get it. It takes time to make your pieces, to craft them.
Yeah, and it's not just, you're not just the founder and like you don't see it, you know what I mean? You're actually putting the time in to then make sure that they're perfect for the customer that buys it as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the final check. That would definitely, if I saw that as a consumer, I would be like, yeah, I want it. Do you have one piece of advice for somebody starting a brand?
I would say just go for it, because if you don't, you never know. You know, you might, it's going to be a regret. So I think start it. And if you're not sure, start it as a side hustle whilst you're still in your other job.
Amazing. Well, thank you.